Welcome back to the show where we run you through all the Dolphins news you need to know. First news story, unfortunately, the Patriots won today. And that means this first news story comes true. This comes from Pro Football Rumors. Dolphins to formalize Brian Flores hire soon. If the Patriots prevail in today's AFC Championship game, the Dolphins will meet with New England de facto defensive coordinator and future Miami Dolphins coach Brian Flores during the week before the Super Bowl to discuss staffing and other issues. The Fins can formally commit to Flores as their next head coach at that time. So at least we're just going to get a formal confirmation on that. And they get to discuss what staff he wants, even though we kind of already know what staff he's going to get. The coach from Arkansas and New England, and I can't remember who he coached before that, but he went to back-to-back Rose Bowls in college. I cannot remember his name right now. Good coach. He's supposed to be our defensive coordinator. Obviously, Jim Caldwell is either going to be an assistant head coach or the offensive coordinator. The rumor is that the Dolphins want someone who's a little bit younger, a little bit more hip to what people are running in today's game, which I kind of get, because Jim Caldwell's offense it would basically be the Colts no huddle offense, which it's pretty similar. It's not like it's, power run offenses and stuff like that. It's not like what the Baltimore Ravens had when Joe Flacco was in. It's not boring, but I think it would be the best move in terms of staffing to get Jim Caldwell to be the offensive coordinator. I think he would be the best option there. So we'll see what happens with the whole staffing issue. But it seems to me that everything's pretty much set in stone. It looks like Dan Arians probably going to come back as special teams coordinator, which I haven't seen anything really of an update on that. So we'll see. But yeah, we're going to have to wait till after the Super Bowl to officially name him our head coach, get the press conference, and introduce him to the fans and stuff of that nature. So that sucks. Not only do the Patriots make the Super Bowl, but we can't even, introduce our head coach because of it. Even though he balled out. He straight up balled out in these last two playoff games. Now, we don't know who prepares the games, but I can tell you this right now. The way this defense is called and the way the defense and some of the stuff that has been put in is completely different than last year. It's a way more aggressive unit. They do a lot of zero-man coverage blitzes. It's very Todd Bowles-esque in that way. It's completely different. It's way more aggressive than it was last year. And he's called back-to-back really good games. The Chiefs kind of went on a run there at the end, but I feel like it took a while for the Chiefs to really settle into that game because the Patriots defense was dominating that entire first half, obviously shutting them out the entire half. So yeah, people are like, oh, what? Chris Richard got all that acclaim because a lot of the media was talking about him. Cowboys fans were talking about him a lot. He's a little bit more popular. He's a little bit more well known because of Legion of Boom and stuff of that nature. But I guess it was just the least. Even when I was talking about Brian, it was really hard to see what he contributed to that organization. And you can see he's a really good defensive play caller. Even though this is his first season, he's done it well. It doesn't really surprise me. I mean, he's literally longer than any of the coaches that have left the Bill Belichick tree. He's been there the longest before leaving. He's been there since they won their second Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe their first. I know he's been there for over 14 years now. So he's been there the longest. He's seen Bill prepare. I think this is going to be a very interesting hire for us. Definitely the last two games and doing more research on him it's gotten me a lot more excited than what I was. But before that, I was like, oh God, this is, why, really? It was no excitement at all. But this gets me excited, and especially since his staff choices so far, at least the ones that are rumored, are pretty good. I mean, both coaches, a lot of experience, a lot of success. between the both of them, and that could bring this organization leadership and stability because of their experience. So far, I'm liking what I'm seeing. So, let's see here. What are we gonna do next here? Not very many news stories, obviously, but we'll start with the second news story on the dock. This comes from finfanatic.com, and they're rewinding to the 2018 NFL Draft. So this is a very interesting story, and at the time, I think we actually talked about it. As the month of May began and the rookies from April's draft began to assign their uniform numbers, word started to filter out of the Miami Dolphins media outlets that Miami Dolphins owner Stephen Ross wasn't at all happy about the draft results. According to multiple reports last April, a bit of friction hovered in the Dolphins draft war room. According to these reports, Ross wanted the Dolphins to draft a quarterback, but the trio of Chris Grier, Mike Tannenbaum, and Adam Gase had other ideas. The story went that Ross wanted the Dolphins to trade back and then draft quarterback Lamar Jackson. Instead, the trio wanted to take Minkah Fitzpatrick and had no intention on drafting a quarterback in round 1. The story was a bit overblown, as the Dolphins would recount with Ross only suggesting they move back for Jackson and simply wanted to be sure that the Dolphins were making the right move by taking Fitzpatrick and staying put. Ironically, it was the play of Lamar Jackson late season that got the Ravens into the playoffs about the same time that the Dolphins were being eliminated with Ryan Tannehill. Don't know why he put that last one in there. Who cares? Do I regret us not taking Lamar Jackson? No. At all. I think he's the worst out of the rookies, that's for sure. I think Meek is a way better player than he is. I think he had a way better rookie season than Lamar did. Lamar had one of the best and hottest defenses. I mean, look at the wins that they got. I mean, they wouldn't have won against the Falcons if it wasn't for all those turnovers. I mean, the defense scored, I think, 2 touchdowns in that game. They wouldn't have even have made the playoffs if it wasn't for that defense. If he was a Dolphin, our regular season record isn't much different. I mean, we probably have a little bit more, I guess, hope, but he's not. He's a project at best. He has to learn a lot. We'll see what happens in his second year, because if he comes in not improving at all, which I don't expect him to, then he's not going to have a good season. Because defenses will adapt, adjust, and he's going to have to get better. He's going to have to be a better pocket passer. Granted, I don't think you have to do that. I still think accuracy, I still think you have to have that part of your game. And Lamar Jackson, as of right now, does not. So, should we have taken Lamar Jackson? No. Could we have traded back into the first round and taken him? Probably. I don't know what it cost the Ravens to do that, but I don't think it was that much. But what does it all really matter? Not really. I don't think it matters that much. I don't think Lamar Jackson is 1,000% the answer for the Ravens at quarterback. I don't think he did anything that was super special. I mean, he was running all over the place. He's using his God-given talent, but you have to build on that, like building blocks. And will he do that? Who knows? So I don't think it's some big whiff that our organization made, is my point. So yeah. And I think Minkah Fitzpatrick is going to be a fantastic player for a very long time. I think he's going to be one of the best DBs, definitely in the AFC, and for sure, I think he will be in the NFL as well. This next news story also, this comes from the Fin Fanatic. Miami Dolphins in April 2018 brought hope for the future. The 2018 draft brought hope for the future. Looking back on the year that was 2018, we revisit the month of April. Talk swirled that the Miami Dolphins were positioning themselves for a jump in the first round to finally find the quarterback they desperately needed. Baker Mayfield was the hot topic in Miami, and mock drafts slated Mayfield as a potential hit at the 11 spot. As the draft got closer, it started to become apparent that Adam Gase was on board with Mayfield, and it increased the likelihood that the Dolphins would grab him. Things began to change. Mayfield continued to rise on draft boards, and by the time the draft arrived, he was expected to go in the top 5. Miami wasn't making a move any longer, and Mayfield was nothing more than a dream. We would of course be drafted first. He would of course be drafted first overall. The Dolphins watched as 4 quarterbacks came off the board before they drafted, with the Cardinals trading up in front of the Dolphins to get Josh Rosen, the final of the top 4. Miami would, quote, settle on Minkah Fitzpatrick, which would turn out very well for the Dolphins. Miami's draft was one of their better drafts in recent years. Fitzpatrick had a very solid rookie season. I swear Dolphins beat writers are so hard to please. It's ridiculous. Solid rookie season. He played 4 different positions at a high level every single time. And he's a rookie. And he plays in the secondary. He was the only one. Dude, when Rashad got benched, we played better in the secondary. When he was not playing, we played better. We had way less busted coverages when he was back there playing free safety. So, I don't... Solid is a very solid... He had a great rookie season. He played safety, corner, and slot. So he played 3. I don't know why I said 4. I just realized I had the mic way too close to my mouth. I apologize for that. Apologize for that. Apologize. Hopefully it wasn't like... I got to gamble on this one, guys. I can't restart recording. So hopefully... and let me know down in the comment section below it wasn't like that from the start to now. Because if it was, then I might have to take this video down. And probably just re-record this at some other time. But anyway, this next news story comes from not next news story. Continuing this news story from Finn Fanatic. And the second round, Mike Gesicki was the tight end that the Dolphins desperately needed, but still do not know how to use. Gesicki's rookie season was not what fans or the team expected, but it was a Gesicki or the coaching staff and Adam Gase's play calling that led to the low production. I think you guys know my opinion on that. It was because of how bad, really, I mean, we were trying to run the football, and obviously Mike's not the greatest. I still think he was mismanaged. We never really used him. And I agree with that. I think it was more that, because he was really never in. Every third down we had, it was like 3rd and 10 plus, and we really just had tight ends in there to help block, and give Tannehill some time, and we rarely had more than 3 receivers go out on a pass on every third down. That's why we were so bad on third down. So that had a lot to do with it. He definitely was misused. He never was split out in the slot, really, which is what he did best at Penn State. Anytime he was in the red zone, he was open a few times throughout the season, but none of the quarterbacks could give him an accurate pass. So we'll see what happens this upcoming year with him. Hopefully Kyler Murray's throwing some hot pancakes with some syrup and some butter on those things. I really do hope. Perhaps the Dolphins' steal of the 2018 draft, however, came in the 3rd round when they selected Ohio State Buckeye Jerome Baker. Baker turned in a very good rookie season at linebacker. He made all the plays across the field, and while there were signs of needed improvement, Baker showed Dolphins fans that he could be around for a long time. The rest of the Dolphins draft was solid. It provided the team with some future prospects. Tight end Durham Smythe looked great at times in limited play, and Kalen Ballage looked very good in spot work later in the season. The draft last April provided the Dolphins with 3 starters out of the gate and gave hope that maybe the team was turning a corner from their draft woes of the past. 1,000%. I mean, Kalen's going to be a very good player. His first game, he had over 120 yards rushing. So that was awesome. Durham, he kind of caught on. Really, he wasn't really used throughout the season, but once we started to use him more, he started making plays. What else? Who else was on? Obviously, Jerome Baker is one heck. He had a really good rookie year, especially when everything really around him was chaos. So that says a lot. So yeah, I'm very, very, very. This draft was very good. Not very good. It was good. It was good, and I can't wait to see what they do in their second year. I mean, some of these guys are really. I mean, Minkah Fitzpatrick is a superstar, so we'll see what happens with Mike. I think he has the potential to be a superstar. I think he has a lot of potential. We'll see what happens with that. So, and Kalen, I think him and Kenyon are going to be one heck of a duo for a long time. So yeah, that's it for the news. I think that's 15 minutes of news. That kind of sucks, dude. This is the downside, or the dark ages of doing Dolphins content right now, and then really after free agency ends, the draft kind of kicks it back up again. But it's really these spotty areas, man. They get you going. Oh yeah. I'm gonna upload a video separately because not everybody. Well, I guess hardcore fans have made it 15 minutes in. But as I'm getting the fan Q&A set up right now, which is what I'm doing because I'm stalling for time. I want to reach a hand out to. I think I've had a few comments saying that they want to do collaborations with certain people that I don't know, and I can't remember their names right now. But if you guys want to go ahead and, if you made it 15 minutes in, since we're right about to do the fan Q&A, and you want to, whatever the heck, that means with the collaborations, I want to reach an olive branch out. I'm willing to do them. I just don't. I think I've said in the past, I don't know how that would work, and that needs, I guess I would have to contact whoever you guys want that to be done with. I don't know, but doing an entire podcast with one of them would be very difficult, and I don't know how that would work. That's an hour of talking to someone, and I don't really record. I don't usually really record these until later in the night. So timing, schedule, all that kind of stuff is gonna have to. It's probably not gonna happen, but I do want to, reach out and see if it could potentially happen. So we'll see. All right, let's get into the fan Q&A. You asked 17 questions. This is the lowest. This is gonna be the quickest episode in some time. Corporate Gamer. This question comes from Corporate Gamer. He says, thoughts on the Bengals' new head coach, interest in trading for Ryan Tannehill. Really? I did not know about this. No way. No way. Really? I'm looking this up. We might have to pause and do a... Hang on a second. Ooh, really? I'm trying to Google this right now. My mind is blown. NFL rumors. So this comes from NFL rumors and CincyJungle.com, whatever the heck that means. Ryan Tannehill to the Bengals, why it makes sense. Okay. Let's see if there's any actual credible news things. NFL insider Benjamin Albright, who's more often right than he is wrong, gave his thoughts on a possible reunion with Tannehill and his former quarterback coach Zach Taylor, who will soon become the Bengals' next head coach. Initially, the thought of Tannehill replacing Dalton is far from a promising one. Tannehill and Dalton... I'm getting this thing too close to my face again. Tannehill and Dalton belong in roughly the same tier of quarterbacks when comparing them on a league-wide scale. Nothing about Tannehill's game is significantly more superior or inferior to Dalton, so why would the Bengals want him? Because that doesn't matter, and for the situation, it shouldn't. Like it or not, the Tua era is probably going to be a reset for the franchise. They're not getting Tua. Unless we get Kyler, there's no way you're getting Tua. The Bengals are not getting. Okay, so it's not really news, but it's just like, hey, this could happen because Zach Taylor used to coach Tannehill. So, what do I think about it? Dude, that's crazy. That's kind of funny, actually, if that happened. I think Tannehill, and I've said this before, I think he will have success without us. I really do believe that. I think people underestimate how bad the team was and just how bad everything else was around him. It was very, very bad. Like I said, on most third downs, we had 3 receivers. Those 3 receivers were Kenny Stills, Bryce Butler, and Danny Amendola. Not a lot of playmaking ability on that. So if you think about it, when he got hurt, we still had Albert. We were clicking. We only lost 2 games. One was to the Patriots in Gillette. The other one was a tough loss that was his fault on the road in Cincinnati that we should not have lost. We should have coasted to that victory, but whatever. And then we lost all of our playmakers by the time he came back. So those were the people he was throwing to. But is it time for us to move on, Tannehill? 1,000%. 1,000%. I think we need to go in a different direction. We need someone who fits today's model of quarterback, who can make plays with his feet and make special plays, those off-script plays that Tannehill cannot make, and really elevate the talent around him. That's what we need in the city, and that's what we need for this franchise. So we absolutely need to move on. But do I think Tannehill can go somewhere with a good roster and succeed? Yes, 1,000%. And Cincinnati would be a really good place for him. I mean, they got an okay offensive line. The receiving core is really good. They have Tyler Boyd, John Ross, Bob Ross, same guy, and AJ Green. And then they have Croft, the tight end, who's really good, young guy. So that offense, and I think he's a better quarterback than Andy Dalton. I think Andy Dalton just really takes advantage of what he has around him. I think Tannehill could probably just win more games for that Bengals team. Alright. Or he could just be the Tannehill that always throws, 4 to 3 interceptions on the road versus the Bills that are terrible teams. I don't even want to think about it. I want to put my head through this wall thinking about something like that. I mean, that is ridiculous that he plays that bad. His Bills record is just, it boggles my mind. It boggles my mind. This next question comes from Adam Burke. He says, this is not the year to draft a quarterback. Fins need to stock up on O-line and D-line, draft players for the next 2 years from now. For the next 2 years from now. Oh, excuse me, I messed that up. No, everybody's saying tank for Trevor Lawrence. He's getting punched in the face. It's the dumbest thing I have ever heard in my life. I'll explain that after I answer this question. If they actually sign some one-year free agents for the O-line and pick up a decent veteran quarterback, this team could challenge for the division. Absolutely not. Then you keep Tannehill if that's what you want to do. Then make a couple of moves. Trade Howard, hate to say it, and some 2021 draft pick, and move up at the 2020 drafts to get the quarterback of the future. I disagree with you, Adam. I don't think you need to do any of that to get a quarterback of the future either. I don't think you need excuse me, I'm stuttering. Let me calm down. To trade a physical player, you definitely, I mean, if you look at the last few trades, other than the Eagles one, and that was just the trade for us to get our spot, which they didn't need to do, because I think they could have probably just draft, it's always draft capital. It's never players. So you don't need to get rid of Xavier to do that. And two, if the organization wants Tua, and their thing is let's just draft O-line and D-line, build through the draft this year, then I'm okay. That's fine. I can deal with that. Is it gonna suck to sit through that season? Yes. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully it's someone like Luke Falk. And who we could see, maybe he has some potential, and it's not Brock Osweiler. I've heard that thrown around a couple times. I don't know if I could take that. But that aspect of your question, I agree with. The whole Xavier Howard thing, no. And the veteran quarterback thing, absolutely not. Because if you want to win now, then you do that, which this organization has publicly said no. Dude, in 2019, listen, they said the same thing about the Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes draft. They said it was a weak quarterback draft. They're dumb. People never know. They never know. I mean, those people look stupid now. Those people look really stupid. Everybody thought, Deshaun turned the ball over too much in college. Patrick Mahomes was in the air raid offense. It's not going to work. He can't translate to the NFL. All of them are wrong. They're the two best young quarterbacks in the National Football League right now. One of them just threw for 50 touchdowns and went to the AFC Championship game in his second season. One of them won their division, should have won back-to-back division titles in their first 2 years. So, I mean, seriously. This next question comes from Corbett Gamer. He says, would you be okay with to draft Daniel Jones? Every mock draft has us taking him. Would I be okay with that? depending on who falls there, would I be okay with it? I like Daniel Jones. I think he has a lot of potential, but he also scares me because he has a lot of Tannehill in him. Not because he wears the same number. He has a lot of physical gifts, and he's a pocket passer. I think he has a better feel for the game than Tannehill did coming out of college. Way better feel for the game. I think he has better instincts. But you would like to see him use that more and use that talent more. But his pocket pass, his touch on the deep ball, I think he's very accurate. I think that is what I like the most about him. I just want to see him make more plays with his physical tools than he did in college. I feel like he could have done more. And you see him a lot just being a pocket passer. You wouldn't think he could, run 65 yards for a touchdown sometimes. And consistency, too. But that also comes with his terrible, terrible surroundings at Duke. So that one's really a big wild card. Because you could make an excuse for that inconsistency because of all the drops. In terms of inconsistency in his numbers. Same thing with Josh Allen. Everybody made that excuse for him because, he played at Wyoming. You could do the same thing for Daniel Jones, but it could also be he's just inconsistent. So who knows? And we definitely do not want to go down another inconsistent quarterback. We don't want to go down that road again. This next question comes from DMAC. He says, do you think we should draft a wide receiver to be our wide receiver one? I saw a mock draft that took, I think it was Bucky Brooks of NFL.com, that had us taking Marquise Brown. No, that would be dude, it talked about, if we're rebuilding, dude, no. His explanation was to give Tannehill a weapon. Tannehill's not going to be here, so that was a very misinformed mock draft. So no, I definitely don't think we should do that. This next question comes from Mark. He says, I'm fortunate enough to live in Mobile and will be attending the Senior Bowl practices. Who should I be paying close attention to? Probably Daniel Jones, I would say. All the quarterbacks, but definitely Daniel Jones. This next question comes from Mark. He says, have you considered doing a mock draft this year and maybe getting some loyal followers to participate? Yes, I think I'm going to do one Thursday. If you have made it to this point, which I think I'm going to do time codes, and I should always do time codes, but this episode, yeah, from now on, I'm going to definitely do time codes, but yes, we're definitely going to do this year. It's going to have to be the week of the draft, but we're definitely going to do it this year. I'm going to keep reminding everybody about it. We'll get as many people as possible to participate, and then I'll just fill in the blanks. This next question comes from Ron. He says, who are you looking forward to watching at the upcoming Senior Bowl? My man crushes right now are inside linebacker Chris Lindstorm, inside linebacker Michael Dieter, Wisconsin. Yeah, I'm interested in him as well. Inside D lineman Gerald Willis. I have more, but some of them have not accepted invites yet. I'd probably say this thing's probably way too close to me again. I'd probably say Daniel Jones. I'm pretty sure he's going to the Senior Bowl. I think I read something about that. I would have to Google that, actually. I might be wrong about that. If I'm wrong about that, I apologize. But if I'm not, I would say Daniel Jones. Michael, I hope I'm saying his name right. Dieter, I'm interested in as well. He had a really good college career. I'm definitely interested in that. So I would say those two. Douglas says, who is your thought? This question comes from Douglas Ward. He says, what is your thoughts on our current roster? Which players do you really like, and which ones are garbage and need to go? Josh Sitton. Let's just name them all. Josh Sitton needs to go, and not because he's garbage, just because he just doesn't belong on this roster anymore. Danny Amendola, which I could see a world where he stays. I'm not super mad at, but I still feel like he's washed up. Let's see here. Robert Quinn, TJ McDonald, either TJ or Rashad. Keep one, cut one. I don't care. Or trade one. Doesn't really matter to me. They're just those contracts are so dumb, dude. They don't play. I'm messing up. I'm getting upset and I don't have a pop filter. I'm trying to control this mic. What was I saying? Oh, Rashad and TJ. Yeah, they need to get as far away from this. One of them can stay and one of them can go. I think Rashad probably needs to go, and I hate to say that, but he is responsible for a lot of busted. He can't play free safety. Here's the deal: if Rashad wants to stay, he can only play up on line of scrimmage. He can only play strong or move to linebacker. That is the only way he can stay on this roster. If TJ wants to stay, he has to do the same thing. He can either be a strong or a linebacker. That's it. We can't do this stupid. Matt Burke, we rotate safeties before the ball is snapped. We have two strong safeties that can't cover half the field. One of them's dumb. I mean, like, we can't do that. We can't do that again. I'm trying not to get, like, overly ridiculously upset because my mic is we need to definitely order. We got to get a pop filter up in this piece. Sorry, that was really gross. Yeah, one of those two have to go. Who else? I would say Akeem Spence, especially his personality and just the the amount of penalties that he committed, it was absolutely ridiculous. Even though he played, you could make an argument he didn't play terrible, but I would rather just have Vincent Devon there anyway. Plus, he's really replaceable in free agency if we needed to get someone who's cheap. There's a lot of really good cheap DTs out there. I'm sure I'm drawing a blank on someone. I mean, Devontae, obviously. Definitely not coming back. I wouldn't keep him. Tannehill, I would definitely move on. So those are some of the obvious ones. Frank, I would move on from. Yeah. It's pretty. I'm sure there's someone I'm forgetting, but yeah, that pretty much answers your question. This next question comes from Gamer. He says, should we get a running back in the draft? No. Unless, like, was it Ben Jacobs from Alabama? Is his name Ben Jacobs? I think so. Hopefully I'm not getting his name mixed up with the New York Giants running back from years ago. Yeah, I feel like he would be interesting because he's such a good player. If he was there in the second round, he would be. But Kalen and we already have Kalen and Kenyon, but he's going to be really, really good. Like really good. He's going to be really good. I love him a lot. So that's the only one I would take a flyer on, really. Corporate Gamer says, if Dwayne Haskins falls to us, excuse me. This question comes from Corporate Gamer. He says, if Dwayne Haskins falls to us, is there no way we should pass on him? If Dwayne Haskins falls to us at what are we, 13, 11? I can't remember. Yeah, obviously we would take him. This next question comes from Corporate Gamer. He says, I'm still not sold on Tua. His biggest 2 games of the season, he was terrible, and he struggled against the Citadel. Plus, Alabama has not produced a good quarterback in a long time. Dude, you're crazy. That's all I got to say. People have bad games sometimes. The Clemson game, I mean, he wasn't the only one playing terrible. The Georgia game, he got hurt in the middle of, and then he tried to come back. It wasn't working. But I feel like if he doesn't get hurt in that game is different for him. D-Max says, out of all the quarterbacks coming out, who do you think we should take? And do you think Kyler Murray at his size is a first rounder? Yes, dude. It's a completely different game, bro. A longtime GM said on, I don't know if I was listening to a podcast or listening to an old video on YouTube, or not old video, but a video on YouTube. He said NFL is football on grass. I mean, the rules are the offense's favor. It's almost ridiculous. It is. Or not football on grass. It's basketball on grass is what he said. And he couldn't be more right. You don't have to be this physical specimen at the quarterback position anymore. If you're 6'2", you can't see over a 6'8" guy who's wide as a bed. It doesn't matter. I mean, I think what the statistic was, more people who are 6 foot and or 6'1" and up had more batted passes than the guys that were shorter than them, because those guys have to be so good in so many of all of the areas to be as good as they are because of their physical stature. That's why they're so good technically. And I think Kyler Murray is very underrated when it comes to footwork, when it comes to throwing motion. I think he's one of the more pretty throwing motions in all of college football. His accuracy is a little bit inconsistent, but other than that, I think his game's perfect. And if it wasn't for his size, he would be first overall pick. And I don't think his size matters. Jackpack says, do you... hang on, I gotta itch my face. This next question comes from Jackpack18. He says, do you think they will cut Kiko for the cap space? If so, who are some linebackers in this upcoming draft that you like? Chris, the guy from Wisconsin, I like him a lot. But obviously, Devin White, is that his name? Or no, I think I'm getting him mixed up with someone else. The guy with the linebacker at LSU, number 40. Has the same number as... he kind of looks a lot like Jared Davis, actually. He plays a lot like him, too. I like him, but not that high, depending on who's all there. If you got Colin Farrell, I think I'll literally almost said the actor Colin Farrell. Farrell? How do you say his name? Farrell? Is it Farrell? I think it's Farrell. You guys know who I'm talking about, the defensive lineman from Clemson. I like him a lot. There's a lot of things he might drop to us. The best linebacker or stand-up 3-4, and that's apparently what we're going to run when Brian Flores gets here, is Josh Allen. So if he somehow fell to us, that's a no-brainer. So Kiko, it's going to be interesting because do any of these guys really fit a 3-4 defense? And is it going to be a hybrid like in New England where they switch fronts all the time? It probably will be. So maybe Kiko, maybe scheme fits more than I think. But do I cut Kiko? No, I wouldn't cut Kiko. I think he had a good year. Cameron Saunders, he says, what do you see us... Yes, Cameron Saunders asks, what do you see us doing in this upcoming draft and the next 2 drafts after that? That's a hard question. I don't know about the next 2 drafts after that. Look, this draft, I really do believe if Kyler Murray is there, he will be a Dolphin. Seriously. Honest to God, I really do. I think he's going to win a lot of hearts throughout the whole... combines, all the draft preparation up until that point. I think he's going to win a lot of people over. All the meetings, all of that. I think he's going to win a lot of people over. At least that's what I'm hoping for. This next question comes from Corporate Gamer. He says, would you mind drafting wide receiver I'm going to say Neil, but there's a K in there. God, these names. Some of these names are just so funny. It's ridiculous. Harry in the first round. No receivers in the first round. Corporate Gamer says, what would you give up for Nick Foles? Nothing. If Kyler Murray is in this draft, he is declared. That is my number 1 priority if I'm after a quarterback. I really do believe, and I'm not joking around, I really do believe he's a franchise quarterback. He just has what you need, man. He has it. He's Russell Wilson, but a better athlete. They were talking about how Patrick Mahomes has that ability because he played baseball to use different arm angles, and that helps him with accuracy and throwing under pressure. Kyler does the same thing. He has one heck of an arm. I think that's the most underrated part about him. He throws with touch. I think he's a lot more accurate. Sometimes you see Patrick Mahomes very inconsistent with his accuracy, especially down the field. He can hit he'll hit a throw that you're like, how the heck did he do that? And then he'll miss he'll miss a layup of a throw. And that's just the kind of inconsistent. And same thing with Dak. Dak does the same thing. He'll do a sick play physically. Like, he'll run around and throw on the run and make a sick play. Same thing like Patrick. But then when it comes to someone wide open, for some reason, they struggle to hit those on a consistent basis. But Kyler does that. Consistently accurate in terms of, like, tight windows. I feel like it's more he tries to fit it in tight windows. And he's a little bit more aggressive at times when he doesn't need to be. And I think that kind of hurts him sometimes. And you saw that in the Alabama game. He had that one throw that was like 4 people around there. Like, he does that sometimes. But it is what it is. There's certain players you have to live with the bad. I don't think he's going to be one of the... I think he's going to be more like Russell Wilson than anything else. I don't think we're going to have to deal with any bad. But certain players, they'll make so many great plays throughout a game that you deal with their shortcomings. Because the things that they do well are so good. And then when you football games, that the things that they mess up on sometimes you can live with because of their play style. I think Patrick Mahomes is the best example of that. You see him not give up on a play ever. And he takes a lot of stupid sacks because of it. But I can live with that because he does the other things that just... The no-look passes, the silhouettes out of a sack and he throws 80 yards down, all of that stuff. If that's what we get and I have to live with dumb sacks, I'll take that. I'll shake your hand. It's fine. And I think might have to live with some of that with Kyler Murray. We'll see, though. I think he's more like Russell Wilson than that, though. That's going to be it, guys. That was the podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. It was only 40 minutes long. Sub up the questions, guys. I know. Listen, it's and I'm sure we'll have more next week, but yeah, maybe not next week. The week after that, when February 3rd rolls around after the Super Bowl, we'll have a lot. But it's gonna be dark, and I don't care how many questions you ask. Just fill it up. Let's get this content rolling in. And again, if there's anything you want to see on this channel, just let me know. We're definitely gonna do that draft thing for sure. That's a really good idea. I think Mark said that, so that's a really good idea by Mark. The whole collaboration thing, I am interested in. I just need the details and how the heck we would do that. Because my content is very different than most Dolphins people on the internet. It's very, very different. I'm a long-form guy, as opposed to like a 15-minute video. You know what I'm saying? Very different styles, very different content. So I am SkyExtra1083, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and please, if you would consider support any way you can, it would help out a lot, and I will see you guys in the next one.